My name is Lola B, and this is 30 Days of Glamour Magic. I'll be walking you through 30 days of glamour techniques to add to your spell work or grimoire. Today is day 5, and now we're talking about energetic protection and beauty rituals. This is a teaching platform, so if you do stick around, I invite you to get a notebook, writing utensil, whatever you like to take notes with, as well as any type of supplies. If you're someone that would like to follow along with the makeup techniques, a reflective surface, because we do mirror work here. So you do have to have a mirror or reflective surface that you can participate in the ritual as well. And most importantly, bringing your questions and your insight. Best part about being a teacher is I know and enjoy when I can be a student. So I would love for everybody to add any knowledge that they may have on any of the topics that do come up in discussion. So it is Friday, ruled by Venus, which is also associated with the throat chakra. I speak Libra and Taurus for zodiac signs, which is the earth and air sign. It is all about expression. And so if you're having, which I definitely am, indecisiveness or like issues with hearing problems, throat issues, things like that are all associated with the imbalance to the throat chakra, which you can listen to as I am right now, 384 hertz frequency for that realignment, as well as there are certain colors you can wear. There are certain foods that you can eat, herbs that you and essential oils that you can utilize, as well as crystals, chakra stones, association. So it's a lot of different ways. Here I like sound frequencies again, and I focus on, as well as focusing on colors. So the colors of the day, I believe, going with, it's a lot going to be to choose from, because for Venus and Friday is pink, green. We did a pink look yesterday because we're pulling colors from either the day and the planet, but then also the theme. The other colors that are going to be added, that we're going to be adding in there as for a choice, I already got it set in my mind a little bit. For the protection portion, it's letting in the black, brown, neutral. So today we're going to try what I couldn't accomplish yesterday, which was to do a softer eye look, not as dramatic, and then just do a bold lip. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. So we can do like a protective palette colors here and do the expression or the love connection and colors that go with Friday on the lip. So for starters, we're trying to start with explaining why, which I've been talking about all week when it comes to using portals for self-perception. This is about the boundaries and then energetic hygiene, about how to be grounded but still be empowered so that you don't feel afraid. A lot of people approach spell work with a lot of fear. Just because anything that you either haven't done before, or when you're thinking about the other, people thinking about, tapping into other realms, other dimensions, or utilizing other beings, for assistance and stuff. It's always been that era of fear, especially around when it's like you don't have enough information. And so that's what these teaching atmospheres that I try to put together, that's what these are for. And so that way, the more confident you can be to actually adjust these and add these to your regular routines. Or even the fact that I've been saying the past couple days that a lot of glamour magic techniques people are using are just not aware that that's what it's considered. So then when you actually learn how to protect yourself, there's also an extra layer of boosting the spell work that you use and helping to make sure that you are 100% intentional. Remember our rule of 3 and our code of ethics. This work is for our code of ethics. This work is for self-embodiment, confidence, and personal alignment. Here at the Moon, we work with clarity, consent, and care. We do not influence, manipulate, or override anyone's free will or cause intentional harm. All energy is grounded, protected, and returned to balance. And then our rule of 3 is, am I being specific? Will it harm me or anyone else? And am I willing to take responsibility? And so today would be the day where a lot of that will start to make more sense when you're understanding protection as maintenance and not as a defense. Protection is about discernment, not about hiding. When you are doing any of the spell work, understanding that open up portals means you cannot control the traveling between the two. So you just have to, it's mainly about having the protection in place, so that you can take out the doubt and the worry, because all of that is contradictory to the work that you're going to do. Beauty rituals need protection because anytime we are being seen or expressive, our heart has to actually be more open for that. And it does offer a layer of vulnerability. And because you're energetically open, it allows you to stay open without absorbing every single thing. Like I said, the mirrors as the portals, you cannot help what goes through, but putting protection as framing it as 100% important, then if anything does try, you'll have that layer of defense already there. So even though we don't want to look at it as having to be defensive, as we're not prepared. When you're prepared, like I said, you have the knowledge. When it becomes something that is just a part of your daily practice, something that you do, just like and before, when some people get in the car and pray before they pull off, those type of things. So that is considered ritualistic. It's a protection ritual. And so it's no different. Whatever you want to add that extra layer of protection to, when you're doing something, and you want to make sure that you can fully, I want to be able to continue to use drive as an example. I want to be able to drive, just listen to whatever music or maybe a podcast or something, but then pay attention. Driving is a multitasking type of skill. Want to be able to pay attention and everything like that, but I don't want to have to be worried about if I'm going to get into a car crash and things like that. Of course, you have to have your senses and everything be in tune with the activity that you are participating in. But when you do the protection rituals, that helps you, again, to stay connected and stay open without absorbing everything or without having that risk factor, because there are risks and you have to understand those risks, that's the part of the number 2 rule about will it harm me or anyone else. It's really important to understand the risk of everything that you're participating in. So when you're doing the spell work, it's no different. And it's not necessarily about expecting harm. It's just about choosing what stays. Because there are plenty of people that participate in black magic and the dark arts. That's just not what we do over here. So it's like, if that's your thing, then obviously more power to you. And maybe the way that you frame the way your rituals may be a little slightly different. I'm not really sure. I know that that's why our code of ethics specifically talks about not influencing, manipulating, or overriding anyone's will. We are all about healing, propelling into self-healing, and then being able to continuously evolve and elevate to continue to help others around us. Causing intentional harm or trying to get someone to do something against their will is just not how we practice our particular magic. Like I said, there's plenty of practitioners or other people, there's plenty of knowledge for that, and that's what you do. But that's what protection is more about when it comes to doing the spell work. What stays? What am I allowing in this atmosphere? And what energy am I tapping into and utilizing? And then in that, where it keeps the energy clean and empowering, because that's what it's all about. You're supposed to have as much knowledge as possible to be confident when you're doing the work. So fear really has no place, because it's just really going to be stunning if you're on a path where first you just have to believe and then you have to participate. And when you do anything consistently, it starts to become a part of who you are. So when you think about it, makeup creates energetic edges, because even when we're talking about illusions, it could be a shield sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We talk about literal masks. You could be doing certain applications and it's literally, that's what it is, a mask. And so all the different aspects, textures, colors, the intention, it can act as a filter and it can be a buff. And I feel like that's why I like it so much too, because I already use a lot of different things. Sometimes when I go out, I wear sunglasses, and then even indoors, and keep them on, and that is a trick. I do have a video that is on my page about the shielding and blocking and the different ways to cloak yourself. And so makeup can do that without, nobody would know. But it's certain things that you can do. And then what we talked about yesterday, the incantations and just the intentions that you're setting with different parts of your face, and the application when you actually do it, that actually can serve as a boundary tool as well. And that is because it's energetic, it's without you having to then repeat it. It's going to be similar to how manifesting works. Once I take my goal and change it into my intention, I don't even have to go back to the detailed goal when I'm writing it, my intention, or when I'm professing it. The intention is present in positive tense. Usually the goal is to make it shorter, because the desire is always way more detailed. So the intention needs to be something that's easy for you to memorize, quick. You'll be able to say them in the mirror. You'll be able to write them if you're doing, you might be doing 369 method or 5x55. type thing. And so once you do that, just do it over and over again, but you don't never have to go back and revisit. So the point I'm trying to make is if I'm adding the Glamour Magick intentionally to my applications on my body. And everything that I'm saying in that atmosphere before I leave the house or wherever I am, once I go out, I don't have to re-say any of those things. I don't even have to think about them. I've already said it and put it in motion. And so that everywhere I go energetically, that's already the language. That's already how I'm presenting myself. It's like hearing me, feeling me before you even see me. And so, like I said, it can be a shield, not just enhancement. And so the different methods, intention setting before the makeup or during the application, choosing the grounding colors as we talked about, which when we're talking about planetary energy, all those colors that go with the chakra from the day or the planet with that day is what can help you to utilize the energy that you're already participating. Basically, it's energy, it's energetic imprints and language already being out there. We're just trying to tap into it. So that's what choosing grounding colors would mean. And then closing rituals after being visual. We do this at the end of every single stream. We do close the portal that we use. And there's also different ways that you can do that as well. Leaving out the house and coming back home is different things you can do. Kind of similar to, remember during COVID, it was like suggested protocols about coming in and stripping yourself completely. So like closing rituals when you come back home. You talk about it all the time. Taking some sage or taking some Palo Santo, lighting it and cleansing your aura right at the doorways before you enter back into the private spaces. I believe homes are sanctuaries. Washing your hands with Florida water or whatever water and salt. That's cleansing. Different things like that. So that's closing. Again, those energetic portals is closing after being visible after like 4 days. So it's very simple, but it's all about, like I said, having the knowledge to put up the boundaries, utilizing it as a tool, not having to be on the defense, because you do have to be open in order for your spell work and whatever you put out for you to get, just like anything else. How manifestations work. You can't receive with your fist balled up. If you want somebody to put something in your hand, you gotta have your hand open. And so this is protection and shielding is important so that you can, again, be open enough to receive, but not have to compromise being vulnerable and not have to absorb any and everything that is not according to what your intention is. And that's powerful. When you know that you can protect yourself in multiple ways, there's no room for fear. But then at the same time, if you think about it, because we're talking about protection, because I kept saying all week I was getting the days mixed up. I kept saying Saturday, and Saturday is integration. Friday was protection. And I think that when it's romance, when it's seduction, when it's beauty, I think those things are some of what, I was speaking with my son earlier, and that's what he was saying about women and really needing to be protected or having that layer of protection for themselves in multiple ways. And again, it's not really even about gender. It's energetically, it could be masculine and feminine energies. Then they're participating in different things would just need to do the same thing. It's not any respecter of person or anything like that. But again, when we're talking about beauty, romance, it does align more with the feminine energy. So whether it's a male or a female that is doing it, a male can be operating in his feminine energy and have his beauty and routine and things like that. Anything that we do in that space is still opening ourselves up. So that's what I'm trying to say, that it doesn't matter gender-based, but definitely those things being aligned, the beauty and the romance and seduction, that is something that puts that person that is participating in that in a vulnerable space, and the more information they have to protect themselves in the spirit realm, the better. I'd like to thank everybody again for joining. My name is Lola B, and this is 30 Days of Glamour Magick, where I'm walking you through 30 days of glamour techniques that you can add to your current grimoire or spell work. We're on day 5, which is Friday, about love, connection, romance, seduction, ruled by the planet Venus, which is also associated with the throat chakra with I speak. Zodiac signs Libra and Taurus, which is air, earth and air elements, associated with the ethers. If you feel misaligned or need to be reconnected with that energy center, you can play what we are playing right now, 384 hertz frequency. That will help with your expression. If you're indecisive or have a hard time expressing yourself, heavy hearing problems, heavy throat problems, that's led to physical ailments, anything that have to do with expressing yourself on any level. There's a throat chakra work that you can participate in that can help with that. Today we're talking about protection and beauty and Glamour Magick as a boundary tool and being able to stay open without having to absorb everything and make sure that you can feel empowered. You don't feel afraid to participate in using the planetary energy as a powerful tool for self-perception and how you're going to present yourself outwardly to the world. You can do that with confidence. And so this is the point in time where I like to transition into just like a mini practice with our reflective surface and be able to. The second half is the Glamour Magick in action, the actual application of it. So before we get to actually applying any makeup, I did want to do the protection practice. Again, showing what the first step would be to demonstrate how to open the portal and then go over the protection practice and then ease into the makeup application. So with your reflective surface, which this is mine and it's been covered as it was closed the last time it was used, and then we're now about to open it back up. I take my cloth that I cover it with and I take some alcohol and I just will add just a little bit to the corner of the cloth. I always add too much. Then again, remember to open. I do circular motions and I'm going to go clockwise forward in time. So for the portal, just go ahead and rub the mirror in circular motions, going clockwise. And just the action itself opens it, but you can say an incantation if it's something that you would like to say. And usually I am praying and asking for assistance from Archangel Michael. And so for a lot of the other ones, I didn't really say much when I opened it, but for demonstration's sake, I can go off the top of my head and say, of course, the angels, ancestors, elementals, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, those are here to guide me, protect me, and most importantly, love me. I'm calling on Archangel Michael just to be ever present, to bless as well as to cover this ritual and action, that no energy that is not allowed will be able to penetrate this space, that everything that is put forth is protected, is grounded, and balanced. And that's really it. And so now I'm open, now I'm ready, and I just put this to the side. And when we're done with everything, then I show how to close and cloak, and then to put the mirror away until you use it again. I specifically use a mirror that I only use for makeup and hair, and I do a retwist, or when I'm putting my lashes on, or tinting my eyebrows, different things, all other type of glamour things. Anyway. And so I usually am able to cloak that mirror and put it under something or a high shelf because I'm not going to use it again for anything else. I have other mirrors that I can use along the way. So what I want to do is just jump into some square breathing, get in a meditative mode, and go ahead and say a few, and just go ahead and do some protection practice in the mirror before actually applying the makeup application. So, square breathing, if you do not know, we're going to inhale, counting 4 seconds, hold it, counting 4 seconds, and then exhale, as I learned from a holistic practitioner and psychedelic therapist, to extenuate. And so instead of 4 seconds, we'll do 6 seconds. That way, you give yourself a little more space to release. And that can just help us to ground. I do like to sit. I'm sitting in a regular chair. And I do like to make sure that my feet are firmly planted on the floor, comfortable. I don't have to necessarily sit up like this, but I can go ahead and rest my back on the backrest of the chair. Make sure that my shoulders are nice and relaxed. And just go ahead and start, recognize where I am with my normal breath. And then we're going to do the square breathing since the portal is now open. So we have our reflective surface. We're going to go ahead and start some deep breathing so that we can get right into it. We got about 15 minutes before the top of the hour to be able to transition into the actual application. So I'm going to go ahead and breathe in, hold, breathe out, for 6 seconds. Sometimes I close my eyes doing the square breathing. It's getting me prepared for like the meditative practice. And so for me, because I'm so visual, it's like either I keep my eyes open when I need to see, or I close my eyes when I'm trying to make sure that I'm in tune with what I'm doing. So sometimes I do close my eyes. So I'm going to do that a couple times just to really maybe like slow the heart rate down a little bit, make sure I'm in the present moment. I can feel every part of my body. I'm nice and relaxed, and then I'm ready to actually say what I'm going to say in the mirror. So I'm going to do it just a few more times. Breathing in for 4, holding for 4, and out for 6 seconds to give myself extra space to go ahead and release. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, breathe in, hold, breathe out. Once you become more familiar, you really don't have to count. You can pretty much understand how 4 to 5, 6 seconds feels. And you also can just count in your head. But for demonstration purposes, I was just trying to show you. And once you just keep doing that, you should feel more relaxed. And you can also focus your energy on the throat chakra, because that is the chakra that we're governing today. And so now I want to look at myself without breaking eye contact. So before I say anything first, I do want you can continue to breathe and look at yourself straight in your reflective surface without breaking eye contact, because that's the most important part. When you feel yourself, if you do feel yourself getting uncomfortable with just looking at yourself directly with making eye contact, that's that edge. And part of this is pushing yourself over that edge. If you're somebody that feels uncomfortable with maintaining the eye contact, go ahead and do that before you say anything. You just want to make the eye contact, be in the present moment, be okay with everything that you see, and just sit with that for a second. You can continue to do the square breathing, or you can return your breathing back to regular. And then the first phrase that I feel that I would like us to say is, I choose what I carry. Again, we're talking about protection today. This is energetic. I choose what I carry, because that is what shielding and blocking is about. I do not have to absorb what I carry, because that is what shielding and blocking is about. I do not have to absorb any energy, take in any energy that if I don't want to. I choose what I carry. This is empowering, helping you to remember and come back to the notion of understanding that just because you are open doesn't mean that you are helpless. The next phrase is, what is not mine returns to where it belongs. That is a part of the shielding and blocking. As we know, people like to say all the time, like to return energy that no longer serves me. That is exactly what I'm saying. What is not mine returns to where it belongs. My energy remains clear and intact. That's another important one. No energetic leaks. As I've opened myself up and I'm going to now do a glamour application, I want to make sure that everything that I'm doing is self-contained right within my aura. It's not going to leak out, and it's not going to have any exposure to any energy that I did not allow. Primer on heavy areas. And so I think like I said before, I'm going to do the heavy color on the lips, the pop of the color for Friday. I'm doing the protection colors on the eyeshadow. And I'm going to 100% try to do a lighter eyeshadow as dramatic. I was laughing at myself yesterday because I couldn't do it. And I was just like, what is wrong with me? I'm trying so hard, but I couldn't. We always start with the brows because the girl needs some help in that area before we start the eyeshadow. We gotta have some face framing. Shape those out. And then, like I said, please encourage me. I'm supposed to be doing a very soft eye. Yesterday, it started that way with a very light pink, and then I couldn't help myself. Meditation. So we need to dispel the myth that during meditation it's considered a distraction because you think of random things. That's actually part of it. It's the first step. Once you're going within, the whole part of it is to be connected to the mental space. Before you can command anything inside of it, you have to recognize what's already there. you're putting yourself in a state to get your mind, body, and spirit all in balance, quieting the outside noise so that you can hear. You want to think of random things, because what you want to do is you want to acknowledge every single thought that comes into the mental space, and you don't have to do anything with them, because you're not going to, let's just use the example, if you're sitting there and you do meditate, or you have to or prefer to meditate with your eyes closed, you're not going to open your eyes, you're not going to try to do anything with the thought, you're not going to try to carry it anywhere else, you're just going to acknowledge that it came into your thought space, and then you're going to let it go. Energy is always in motion. So the thought comes and it goes. And then you're going to allow the other thoughts to do the same, until you've seen that you slow the process down. You're not thinking as rapidly or random. And then that's when you can start to command the space. So there are guided meditations, and if you start with guided, they're already telling you what to visualize and what to do. But if you're just doing it on your own to music, or just trying to sit in silence, you're not doing it wrong, just because you're thinking random thoughts. That's what you're supposed to do. Because I can't command anything. I can't be in control of the energy in my mental space if I'm not in tune with it. I have to first just acknowledge every thought that's coming in there. I gotta first get into that space, because our physical brain is not the same as our spiritual mind, which is also not the same as our mental space. So that's the whole point of meditation, is to get there. Go within into that space. But before you just start knocking stuff over, you need to just see what's already there. So I have a vision in my mind. And so we're just prepping the eyes to get there and seeing what we can do. So if you want to get better at meditation, just be consistent. And my thing is, it's not about forcing. So if you feel like, I'm just thinking all these random thoughts, but then I feel like I'm not being connected to exactly what my intention for meditating is, because you have to do it intentionally. What exactly is your goal for sitting down in that moment to meditate? If you feel like you're disconnected from the intention, then you might want to revisit it at a time where you can have more focus. But from an overall standpoint, just having random thoughts does not mean you failed. It means you need to push further. So when you abandon it, you haven't really completed the full. I'm hoping that makes sense. Think about it. Here, just give me an example of a phone charger. Have you ever? So two things came to mind. The first thought was about connection, but the second thought was about, have you ever went to put a cord in, but it wasn't connected to the wall, but it still there was some residual power left in that cord, and it popped on, or you saw the evidence of it connecting even though it wasn't to a source yet, because it was still holding the power in the cord. I'm not sure why Spirit said that, but the first thought that came to mind was just about, when it comes to connection, it is like a cord plugging into source. So if you want your phone to charge to 100%, you can't get impatient and yank it out when it's at 45. You ain't even got to half yet. You got to go through the whole process. Don't yank the cord out yet. If you really want your phone to go to 100%, it's not going to make sense for you to yank it out. You got to let it charge. So if you want the connection to be strong, you have to stay in it. So I'm just going to put some translucent powder over the little prepping that I did, because I'm going to try to do a neutral look where I'm going to be using these two browns, so that it's not the pop of color. We're going to focus it on the lips today. So we'll get there in just a second. I got the right palettes. So we'll get there. I'm trying to figure out which. Let's try to use this one as. So I feel like it is like a brown, but I don't even know. It's showing up purple a little bit. So it's a little mauvey, but that's okay. We'll see if we can still turn it into this little brown smoky eye that I'm about to try to do, where it's very subtle, nothing too loud. I keep trying to swatch on my hand to figure out how this looks on the skin, because a lot of times these browns don't be brown. Just freaking remembered, I needed to have a darker brown base to start this out too. My camera has failed twice on Meet Me after somebody came in and said, I hope you poke your eye out. I think Spirit was just saying that's enough. So I ended that stream over there, and I'm not even going to worry about it, because that is not at all what I thought was going to happen. And I had good intentions, because it was like, as advertised. It's up to me. I know I'm in control of the whole situation, but I put on my promo material that I was going to be doing it on Meet Me. And Meet Me has given me every issue that you could possibly freaking think of. So it's just people get on and they don't even say anything, and then they come in and say rude stuff, or they try to ask me questions that don't have nothing to do with what I'm doing. It's too much of a distraction. I'd rather people not come in at all if you're gonna just, I don't know. So I'm gonna get a smaller fluffy brush to go back, and I need to go back and add that transition color again, or maybe we can start with a flat brush to add it. We can take it up and buff it out. Again, we chose to use the protection colors, which is the brown and the black. I'm going to deepen the outer corner in a minute. Brown and black. Try to do something a little more subtle than the usual. So any type of smoky eye or any type of dark colors like that, you want to do a lot of blending, because it really just look like a black eye at the end of the day. Especially if you use any of the browns that have that purple or mauve tint to it, or hue to it. But it eventually comes together when you do the liner and the lashes. But when you first start out, it does look a little crazy. And you gotta just keep layering the different browns together to create some more depth, figure out where you're at with it. And then you can always go back over with a lighter type of brown to soften it back up, any of the edges. If it's too dark, bring it back to a certain base point. I'm going to have to figure out how I want to do that. So it's definitely some drugstore stuff, because I have a very old James Charles Morphe before the drama, and it don't have the browns in it. So this is what it is. Color Spell by Profusion. They had two browns in here that I really liked, so I was using this. It had like a mauve hue, but these two that I used inside of here, the browns. And then I had this other smaller one that was when I used to do, you ever used to do those makeup, the $10, what company, the $10 makeup where they send it to you every single month? This came in one of those. It's just a little, it was like a natural makeup brand. I needed that deep brown, so I pulled this one out. Yep, them subscriptions, that started me out. That had me right. That definitely started me out. And so I realized that that's probably the reason why I haven't mastered any type of, I never do smoky looks, because I don't have those deep, rich colors that I want. I'm always doing like drag queen. I really be doing like drag. And this one is a good one where I gotta go back. It gives good payout, but it's just time for some new stuff. This big palette, I use it for everything. Contour, because I don't do liquid contour right now. I don't really do a lot of illusion on my face. I usually keep my shape, because I probably only own a handful of actual blush, but then you can use blush as eyeshadow. So it's like, if it's the right colors, a lot of it is formulated the same, and it's just really about using the right brush to apply it. All these colors in here that been on my face, all parts of my face, and definitely not just my eye. So it's not like it just is for any reason does it only have to go on the eye. Just like I was talking about the other day, usually I have foundation. A lot of times it's not the right color. I have to mix it. And when it comes to the concealers, because of the concealers, they have like, they're similar to the foundation where they have different levels, full coverage versus not the ones that you can layer. They always come in a lot of different color varieties. I have two different, I have 365 and I have 360. What do I have? 365 and 360, which is 360 is the mocha and 365 is nutmeg. But sometimes I'm using my concealers, because my concealers, I just have way more colors to choose from, and then I can just mix depending on what type of look I'm going for. So I really don't use foundation that much, to be honest with you. But that's exactly what the original point is. I using the foundations, the concealers as a foundation. We do stuff like that all the time. Now I can take, let me do a little quick. For years, I started out horrible. It was horrible. I used to do my brows. It wasn't shaping my face right. I would try to do like crazy colors on the eyes, but I didn't know nothing about blending, didn't have the right brushes. I just kept going back to YouTube. I had an aunt who used to be a makeup artist professionally, and she gave me a lot of makeup that she wasn't utilizing anymore. And I just kept practicing. And that's what part of what I was teaching here too, about just learning your face. Girl, it's so funny because I be talking about how they say these are the 2016 brows, but I love the ombre brows. I love the very perfect edge. That's me. Because honey, it used to be a struggle. It used to be a struggle. So years of practice, and then the techniques just change over the years because I just get better. I wasn't scared to just dive in. So it wasn't about trying to. I'm an artist that does makeup, not a makeup artist. I'm not trying to really do makeup on other people's face, even though I can. But I do all type of makeup applications. I do FX, dip and dabble in face painting, so all type of stuff. And a lot of times, that's what I said. That's what the concealer and stuff is for. If you make a mistake as you're doing it, again, and you're learning. So who's gonna tell you? Who gonna even know? Even if it's at the very end, who gonna know? How would they know it's a mistake? At the end of the day, the makeup rules is if it's really about, because we haven't gotten to the creating illusion part yet of my teachings, but if it's really about creating illusion, then how would somebody know if I didn't mean to do this? You know what I'm saying? But if it's like, oh, I'm trying to lift my eye, I'm trying to put the focus here, there are certain techniques where it's like, you'll see that if you don't do the application the right way, you're not going to get the result that you're looking for. That's really all it is. But it ain't really as I tell my kids about when they draw, you're making stuff up from your imagination. Who gonna tell you your imagination is a mistake? Something's wrong. Only you, if it didn't come out the way you thought it was gonna come out. Only you know that. So once you get over that fear of like even what that even means, like, what does it mean to make a mistake on something that you're creating from scratch? Who's gonna tell you that it's a mistake? You're telling yourself that. But you gotta you gotta change your outlook on what that even means. Once you do that, you take off, because there's so many people on YouTube that gave me life. And sometimes it was just random stuff I was looking up, but it was just like, yes, this is helping me get better. And learning your face is all you gotta do. Because once you learn certain techniques, you can use them. I'm getting better. Like, both of my daughters have hooded eyes. I don't have hooded anything. My eyes are very open and bright, and I have a lot of space to put all the shadow there. And so once I learn certain techniques, though, I can start to translate that in different scenarios. So I can start to do certain makeup on their face and their eyeshadow to help, because it's different. It's different. It doesn't have to be sharp. We're not looking for nothing like that today. I'm just trying to make sure this under eye made sense as we're taking it up. And now we want to set that with the translucent powder as well. But to begin with, I just want to use the brush and not the glistening, because I'm going to put something else on there. Where is that? So yeah, if you ever come over here to learn makeup, it's definitely going to be from a very forgiving place, because we still learning together. I'm not somebody that's going to be like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Everything that somebody else will put out to say, oh, what you can and can't do, it might not even be applicable to you. Maybe your face is not the same shape. Maybe you don't have the same product list or the same brushes. Maybe y'all not the same complexion or whatever. So I did want to go ahead and add the liner, but I didn't want to. I realized that I really didn't have all the colors that I needed for the palette. I had to dig out some smaller ones. I was trying to do like brown, smoky type of eye. I'm not even sure how it picks up on camera. To do the protection colors on my eye, which is like brown, black, and then turn around and do the Friday color, which is like pink on my lips. So we're trying to do a more of a subtle eye, because I'm always doing something more dramatic. You know what? One of the transition color that I ended up using, what did have a like mauve-y type of hue to it. And I'm not mad at it. Purple is my favorite color, but we still got a little bit more to go on the face. I am learning during this 30-day process how to tone it down, because I normally do very dramatic eyeshadow. So because the protection colors were very contradictory, completely opposite of Friday colors. Friday is like pink, green, because it's it represents the throat chakra too, so it's bringing in some blues, emerald type of, and then protection color was brown, black. Color theory, philosophy, and all that stuff applies in every instance. So not just with like clothing, or not just when you want to pick a color to paint a wall. It's literally in every aspect that color can be used. So when we're talking about art, color theory plays a part in it. I don't want to do the same exact look every single Monday. This has been going great so far. So I think that I need to go ahead and put the lash glue on and put what I need to put on the face. Today, the palette that I used was from the same company. So this was like a drugstore thing or beauty supply thing purchase. And I just realized that it's the same brand. So now I know exactly I can replace it, because I still was squeezing it out like you told me. It's still boneless, but it's still a little bit in there. But I figured it out, so I'm glad I know now. so then I can make sure I get more. Because I was like, what is this perfusion? And then I was like, then I saw it again, was like, oh, so I bought more of the same brand, didn't realize it, of like other products from the same brand. So that helps me understand. I'm trying to jog my memory. I either got it at the drugstore or I got it at like a Walmart or something like that. So now we can do that. So I was kind of like, today was a day. It was a lot emotionally, but I got a lot done. It was productive. Kids are back. School will be back Monday. So I gotta get the boys. That's a good one. I ain't mad at it. Because that's exactly what's going to happen as soon as I hit end. Exactly what's going to take place. Like I said, I didn't have the freaking affirmation for today. I didn't even make one. I didn't pick one. But I would think that I would probably be thinking about it now on top of my head. I speak. So I can say like I speak to myself. That's what I would like to say. Because I speak is for the throat chakra. And then love is for Friday. And then we've just been talking about doing everything with clarity and care. So just say that. I speak to myself with clarity and love. I need to grab my charger real quick. And then I gotta share with you something funny that happened. So remember I was saying I was trying to do dual string. Then Meet Me just kept giving me issues. I did all my research, literally, to get the connection right and so on and so forth. And I basically skipped out a few days of not even getting on Meet Me. And then I said, you know what, that's not right, because I was advertising that being over here on TikTok was not, it wasn't planned. So I'm like, that's not right. Let me get back on Meet Me. And I tried to do it today. And so everything was going okay. I had everything set up, you know what I'm saying? Talking to everybody that's coming in. There we go. So I get on to Meet Me. I'm doing the stream. It's not a lot of engagement. People aren't even coming in and saying anything or whatever. My friend came in, I talked to her. It was a couple of people that did speak or whatever. But then this guy comes in and he says, Happy New Year. So I said, Happy New Year. Then he says, I was at the very start of that makeup application. And I'm actually putting the concealer on my eyes to prep for the eyeshadow. And this man says, I hope you poke your eye out. Do you know that no sooner than he put that, and I didn't even respond, I ignored it. But the camera, because I have my, when I get on Meet Me, I stream off OBS with my camcorder. And I use a computer. I'm not using the phone. My camcorder just fell over. Exactly. They're trying, it's like, I don't have, and I just got my other phone. So this is my spare phone, and it's probably a little outdated, but there's no way they can hang that one up. But my camcorder fell over. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's stuff with me always. If it wasn't the internal components, bit rate and the audio and the this and the that, it's always something. So I picked it up, set it back up, kept going, and then it fell again. I was like, no, that's a sign from spirit right there. Because as soon as that man came in and said, I hope you poke your eye out, my camera failed. I don't even know. And it was just like, spirit was like, that's enough. My spiritual practice has a YouTube channel that I took a huge break from. What I started doing moon teachings, new moon, full moon. And then I had someone that was heavily copying what I was doing, and I just wasn't comfortable in that space yet when it came to that, because I know that I inspire people, but people copy, they don't give flowers or credit. They don't even say like I was inspired by. So I wasn't comfortable in that space when it came to the spiritual teaching and allowing somebody to just do that, because of how sacred I think it is and how serious I take it. We're 3 minutes from the second hour, and we're about to close this portal. Just a reminder that protection is about self-care and not control or fear. Not just trying to be on the defense, but trying to be in control of what stays. When we open and close these portals, it's up to you and what you allow in. And you can command anything to go back out. Just being very specific, being very clear, and operating with a lot of care. That is our black absorption and brown grounding tones for our eyeshadow, for our protection. And then we're going to do our lip. And I'm going to do this pink. When I felt good, somebody asked me how long was I doing makeup on my own self. And I was like, because I'm doing such a great job. Because I'm killing it. And so I believe that the lipstick was matte. But then the lip cream that I put on top for the lighter pink to blend is also matte. So I don't even know if I want to just leave it like that or I want to add a gloss on top. I don't know, but before we accent the beauty marks, I was scratching my face. I don't know why my face was so irritated. I washed it twice today. I think maybe that was the problem. As in, not day and night type thing. I just washed it twice in like day. And I think maybe I messed myself up with doing that. Lips, let's see what we got. I don't think I have any shimmer that doesn't have color in it. So try to see if we can find a pinkish color so it doesn't take away from what we added, but just adds the right amount of, because the gloss would just make it shiny. But if we're talking about, I do have this one. Well, like not just any gloss. I have the clear gloss as I was thinking, but I do have this. Let me see. I don't know if that's gonna take it. We'll deal with it in just a second to see. Yeah, because it's matte. So sometimes the matte lips will look like that because it's no shine to it at all. It's a matte cream I put on top for the light one, and it was on top of a darker one. So that's why it's kind of giving that. But I'm willing to layer to see what we get out of that. Oh, I don't know what color blush to do. So we've got this. Let's see. That brings us where we need it to be. Here we go. See? So now it's not as stark. Brought it that right amount of shimmer. And because this also has a little bit pink tint to it, it didn't completely able to blend the colors where it still gives a bold pop without it didn't dull the pink back down. I don't know what blush to use. I really do not know. Like color though. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if I should do it. Or maybe just do like very soft layer of, let's see if we can do this one. It doesn't, just a very soft pink with a little bit of shimmer on the end of it. Putting the blush and the highlight together in one stroke. That's kind of what I'm doing now. It's like a little, I dipped in a little light pink and then I had like shimmery. There we go. So it's very light, but it would bring that pink up here since we got pink here. I think these pictures are going to be fire once I take them. We are done. And only 6 minutes after the hour. So your focus also was just wanting to make sure you stay grounded. So checking in with where you need stronger boundaries. Eliminate anything that drains you. Protection preserves presence. So those are some of the things to think about. That's part of what this is about too. Being okay with showing up as your full self as you are. This is not something I'm doing this every day for teaching purposes and for practice and for just to get me out of my shell. I don't do this every day at all. People, as you see, people ask to come in the show, where are you going? Nowhere. Half the time I make videos with nothing on my face. Half the time, and it's just whenever the mood strikes. And this is not base for me. This is me 95%. I'm looking completely different. But we can close the portal. It's time. Let's get what we need to go ahead and close the portal. That way, then whatever we do after that, we've already made sure that we have sealed all this glamour work out with care. All right. So we got our black cloth. I put my alcohol on it. We're going to go in small circles and take it into counterclockwise with time to close our reflective surface and say our incantation. I am in full control of how I present myself and with specific and precise intention. Every application amplifies my inner being. I attract only what I allow, and I repel all that serves me none. And this glamour is sealed with clarity and care. So mote it be. Cover and put it away. All right, that is it. Like I said, I can't wait until I can post all the looks from the entire week. So I have a guide, but also just do go with the flow of how I feel. If I just feel like, oh, I'm just gonna wing it, as long as I'm like, picking the colors, then just be okay with switching it up. Because a couple looks, I didn't do inspiration photos at all. I just winged it. Charger's plugged in. And I wanted to do regular, and this is considered regular to me. I know everybody has their different definitions, but because I do other makeup styles, I'm leaning into pink a lot more. I haven't used it as much. I always, what I lean toward? I was leaning toward oranges and yellows. And then, of course, I love blue and green and stuff like that. Green is one of my favorite colors. Purple is my favorite color. And I have been wearing a lot of red, and I love wearing red lip for sure. So I have a spells deck. I haven't been using it because going by planetary energy. I didn't want to be shifted too much. I'm trying to use this. But this deck is first off, I love the design. on it. And then it's each one. Oh, look, Venus right here. I didn't even have to shuffle. Let's go. That is, I love that. So it says, planet and Roman goddess of love, aesthetics, fairness, and abundance. Also known as Aphrodite in the Greek pantheon, Venus radiates and inspires grace, sensuality, and devotion. Venus rules over the astrological signs of earthy Taurus and airy Libra. Invoke Venus's charm on a Friday, which is that's we started our live on a Friday, to boost your levels of self-love and magnetism. Draw a warm bath, add pink, red, or white rose petals along with a pinch of dried herbs such as jasmine, lavender, or lovage, and add a splash of milk and drops of honey. Suck up those sacred herbs and celebrate the beauty of your exquisite body. So this is Glamour Magic as well. So this was dope that we got Venus. I didn't even have to shuffle it. Love it, love it. And that's the energy that we were tapping in today. This is a deck. Here we go again. And we just talked about the air. So air came right here. And then herbs of love. Let's read this one. I guess sometimes I don't even have to shuffle. I could just part a deck and it will literally just be the exact one, the card that I need to see. So this is open daily, inhale and receive a daily dose of sweet, soothing, and loving vibrations. So that's what we do here. Magical days of the week. Moon day, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and Sun. If I'm teaching about using the energy of the day, I was trying to use the energy of the day myself and kind of pace. But I want to give myself a little more prep so that I can be more prepared for when stuff doesn't go exactly as planned. Good night, everyone. Be safe, be intentional, and magical. See you later.